YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back in Total War Rome 2, and I've got a replay to show you here. This one was one of the ones submitted by email. I've got a ton of these, and I'm trying to get to a few of them. I'm trying to play some of my own battles too. I honestly just haven't had a ton of time to play my own battles, unfortunately. It's getting harder and harder to find online battles. They're not there. It just kind of depends on whether or not there's some going on when I have a chance to play. So I'll grab as many as I can. Otherwise, I'm going to keep this kind of stuff coming at you. It's a great way for you all to submit videos to me. You get to see how other people play. I'll still talk about strategy, even though I'm not necessarily the one that put it together. I'll do my best on that, and then we can talk about builds. So in the end, should be good for all of us. So it looks like we've got this replay submitted by Helvetian Slayer here. Cool name. Anyway, he's going to be playing as Egypt with a teammate as Colchis, and they're going to be playing against the Ardiaei and Boii combination. And honestly, Ardiaei and Boii is an interesting combination and probably fairly strong, just due to the fact that the Ardiaei can tank a lot and the Boii can do a very good job on offense with sword followers and Oathsworn. So just as far as team combinations that ought to be interesting, let's take a look at what they put together. So I can run through the armies real quick. So no, was it Helvetian Slayer? Yeah, Helvetian Slayer should be playing as Colchis, if I understand it right. So you can see, so his army you can see there, but I'll just go ahead and run through it. He's got a Noble Blood General. Looks like it's going to be 4, I think it's Hippeus Lancers that they have, yep. So 4 Hippeus Lancers, there's going to be 5 Cartly Axemen, 2 Eastern Slingers, 2 Colchian Nobles, and 3 Hillmen. So pretty decent, or no, those are just Axemen, my bad, not Cartly Axemen. So his infantry line's a little weak. He's got lots of charging power in his cavalry and a little bit of skirmish contingent. Egypt, on the other hand, so his teammate over here is sporting, and he sent me the army compositions, which, by the way, thank you. It makes this a lot easier. He's got a, looks like a Royal Thorax Sword, 3 Citizen Cav, 2 Egyptian Cav, 2 Egyptian Slingers, 1 Egyptian Archer, 2 Egyptian Pikes, 2 Galatian Royal Guard, 4 Galatian Swords, 1 Carian Axeman, and 2, I believe those are Levithurio Spears. Let's double check that. Nubian Spears, sorry. Nubian Spears. Alright, so for Ardiaei, the army composition is, it looks like 1 Illyrian Noble Hoplite General, 4 Slave Slingers, 5 more, no, make it 6 more Illyrian Noble Hoplites, so a total of 7 Illyrian Noble Hoplites. There are 4 of these, where are they at? No, here they are. Yeah, there's 4 of these guys here, Illyrian Thurio Spears, and then there's going to be 4 Celtic Warriors and 1 Axe Warrior. So that actually is a pretty frightening Ardiaei army, especially since they're going to have cavalry support from the Boii. So the Boii are rocking 4 heavy horse, 1 noble horse, 5 Celtic slingers. That is a lot. Foregone the Oathsworn here altogether because the Ardiaei are going so heavy on infantry. So, but still, he's got 5 sword followers, and that's a dangerous contingent. Looks like 1 Celtic warrior, and it's going to be 4 spear warriors. So interesting. Interesting way to combine armies here for the Ardiaei and the Boii. This is going to be an extremely dangerous combination. Just because you got a nice solid heavy horse coming from the Boii, those are going to combine extremely well with the tankiness of the Illyrian Noble Hoplites. The offensive power of the sword followers is going to combine nicely again with the Illyrian Noble Hoplites, and then they are backed up by all these mercenary Celtics and other stuff to help on the charges. 5 Celtic Slingers are not going to do a lot of damage, but they can certainly pick at enemy skirmishers, so definitely going to be an interesting battle. Let's see, so Colchis over here moving up a little bit, and Egypt has kind of taken this position. They're pikemen in the center. I'm imagining skirmishing beginning here. The Slave Slingers and Celtic Slingers are going to crap all over Egypt here. Definitely not a fight that they really want to be in, but they're going to go ahead and sit here and return fire. The pikemen have taken a loss on 1 unit, but nothing big. Otherwise, it does not look like the Ardiaei are in any hurry to engage because they're sitting back here in hoplite phalanx, letting the Boii kind of do most of the screening. And then Colchis is kind of, moving their way up here too. Now, if these Celtic Slingers don't focus back on these Eastern Slingers over here, these Eastern Slingers, yep, they're going to cause a lot of damage to these sword followers, and that's going to be a huge win for Colchis. Let's see, Egyptian cavalry moving up. They really don't want to do this because these spear warriors are going to make these guys eat javelins till kingdom come. Yeah, please back up. There we go. Alright, yeah, just forcing them back, which that's okay. Forcing these guys back is a good strategy. When you make a skirmisher unit turn their back like these guys had to, then your skirmishers can pelt them in the back. Just be very conscious. The range of enemy javelins is probably something kind of like this, roughly. So just depending on the unit, so you just kind of have to watch out. But definitely not a bad idea to get them to turn their backs and back up. Sword followers, no losses from the Eastern Slingers, but I mean, well, here's a delicious looking blob right here for the Eastern Slingers too. Let's see if they take it. Gonna have to watch out though, heavy horse could get over here. But yeah, that blob right there is perfect. And honestly, the Nubian bows and other ones are doing fairly well. I mean, the slave slingers and other stuff are not causing a horrendous amount of damage at the moment. Egyptian cavalry is going to be backed up by Nubian spears, Galatian swords, but that's a sword follower. Sword follower, though, pulling out. These Illyrian Thurios are going to get ripped apart by Galatian swords, but now the sword follower coming in. More Galatian swords. Citizen Cav. Citizen Cav getting the charge on the heavy horse over here. That's going to be huge. Nubian spears nearby to support. Galatian swords are going to be wrecking Illyrian Thurio spears, but getting wrecked by sword followers. The sword followers here got ganged up on by a Cav unit and the Galatian swords, and they are getting properly destroyed. So a great engagement there for Egypt. Let's see. They're focus firing on this blob of Celtic slingers. Celtic slingers are... they need to be taken off the field just because they can do damage in the long run, but it sucks whenever you have to spend ammunition and time on units as cheap as Celtic slingers and slave slingers, but then again, that's part of the reason why those units can be appealing. Galatian swords getting a second charge from the Celtic warriors. Okay, that was a Celtic warrior, not a sword follower. This sword follower is going to tank out an extraordinary amount of damage in this fight. The heavy horse still doing very well here, even though they got charged by Nubian spears. More reinforcements. Carrion Axemen could potentially be a great unit here if they just hurl a bunch of javelins all over. Yeah, and he needs to get around here and pin the heavy horse. Oh, the Carrion Axemen would be so much better if they were just hurling javelins. But, I mean, at least they can get in here and pin these units, so not a bad engagement so far for Egypt. A pretty poor engagement so far for the Boii. Sending more sword followers over here, but, I mean, there are Galatian Royal Guard and other units nearby. This Nubian Spearman is going to absorb a lot of javelins, but this is good, getting the javelins off these spear warriors. I would kind of halt the Nubian spears. They have an attack order on a unit that's fleeing, so this is a micro mistake, but could actually end up being useful because all these javelins being wasted by the spear warriors. So I definitely think that's an acceptable exchange there. More heavy horse being poured onto this flank. So the heavy horse really pouring in now. More citizen cav coming over. These sword followers are now getting hit by javelins from the Galatian Royals. Wouldn't hurt to throw the Galatian Royal Guard into combat there. And just use these citizens, get in here and pin these heavy horse right now before they can get another charge. And the citizen cav do have a 15 bonus versus large. They will still lose this fight, but it allows these Nubian spears to get in here and cause more damage. So this fight's going to be extremely good for Egypt, extremely good. However, mercenary Celtic warriors pouring in now, that's going to hurt a little bit. It's especially going to hurt these Carrion Axemen, who are already struggling badly versus sword followers. So this might actually start to turn back against Egypt over here. Galatian Royals, though, coming in, as I had hoped they would. And this will destroy this sword follower. And depending on how fast this sword follower gets wrapped up, it could help turn this whole fight, because now this is really starting to favor Boii and Ardiaei. So that's kind of flipped and flopped a little bit there. Egypt is going to bring more reinforcements over. They probably ought to go ahead and get these Galatian swordsmen around here too, and just go ahead and start committing to that fight. The skirmishers for the Boii-Ardiaei alliance have not done as well as they could have here, it doesn't seem like. And these cavalry could be pressuring these eastern slingers a lot more, but they're not, because it looks like all focus is over here. Now, sword follower on the loose over here. This is not good news for Egypt. These Galatian swordsmen are going to get destroyed. Another citizen cav being sent over. Again, just tying stuff down here. These heavy horse are not going to be particularly well utilized. The citizen cav will help blunt the sword followers' charge a little bit so that the Galatian swordsmen can have a better engagement. Still won't be a good engagement for them. But here, the Galatian Royal Guard are doing quite well versus these units, but now there's an Illyrian Noble Hoplite in here behind them in phalanx mode as well. But being in phalanx mode means it's not going to get particularly aggressive there, and should minimize the damage that it's going to do as far as getting kills. These Snoopy spearmen here have gotten a lot of kills and have been extremely worthwhile. They're in a square now too, which means that their morale is going to stay higher, and now swinging a citizen cav around here is going to be an absolutely brilliant move for Egypt. So Egypt continuing to make this engagement over here last a little longer, but I mean there is a lot of noble hoplites over here. But Egypt can't just turn all their attention up there. Colchis is kind of just keeping the attention of some of the Boii. They could probably overwhelm the Boii here. And if they have gotten these guys to eject their javelins, this incoming Hippeus cav charge here could be devastating. Yeah, they're going to smash into these spears. They got rid of their javelins, smash into the sword followers. A massive Hippeus charge all across the line. Would be good to get out, though, because I do believe spear warriors have cavalry counter tactics. They do, but they've just gotten completely trounced on the charge. Look at that, and now they're trying to retreat, so the Hippeus lancers just crapping all over the Boii line over here. A huge, like, Rohirrim-type cav charge over here. Gonna come now smash into all these Celtic warriors back here. So these Hippeus lancers just absolutely wrecking an entire flank, and just, I mean, look at that, just poured through the Boii flank and smashed it. So this is going to really turn the fight back into the favor of the Colchis-Egypt alliance. So that was an awesome charge by the Hippeus lancers, and now the Ardiaei player, not paying attention, going to get all of his Illyrian Thurios rear charged by the very units they were meant to protect his army against. So Illyrian Thurios spears getting completely crapped on by cavalry. This is awesome. Bad for the Ardiaei, but just cool to see, because it's a really job well done here by the Colchis player for using these cavalry for way more. Just look at the kills racking up on these cavalry units, and it just completely smashed the Boii line here in what could have otherwise been a fairly tough fight. So nice lightning strike by the cav, followed up by skirmishers on a flank where their enemies were not paying much attention, and that just cost the Boii and the Ardiaei very dearly. This noble horse is going to get intercepted by a citizen cav. Not a bad idea, just to kind of slow down their charge. Royal Thorax swords coming over to support this fight. This fight is definitely going to tank out for a long time, and the Illyrian noble hoplites are going to be hard to deal with in their phalanx over here. But the heavy horse is mostly destroyed. The noble horse just took a jab volley, and Colchis is just absolutely wrecking this flank. Looks like they're pulling through these Ardiaei noble hoplites, but that's going to be a struggle because they are so heavy. And they should get a few kills, though the number of kills they get, it's not bad. They're getting some kills here, but it would be a lot higher had their guys not been like in a very tight formation. Of course, that would have made them easier to puncture with the Hippeus lancers, but all the Hippeus lancers getting out, the noble hoplites being left in a fight they really don't want to be in. So the Hippeus lancers staying on the move, taking some damage on a few of the units, but still very, very nice use of the Hippeus lancers so far. Eastern Slingers still alive. They have gotten a lot of kills. Do they have any ammo left? I wonder. Yeah, they still have ammo too. Those Eastern Slingers are paying dividends in this battle. The Noble Blood Cav still completely unused at this point. Let's see. We got a Noble Horse General over here in a fight up against Royal Thorax Swords. Galatian. Yeah, this is not a fight that this Noble Horse wants to be in. And it looks like there's some Egyptian Slinger fire hitting the enemy Noble Horse as well, which is just going to chip away at their hit points. Mercenary Celtics inbound. Okay, here comes another massive Hippeus charge. Again, since they spent most of their javelins, these Hippeus charges are going to be brutal on these spear warriors, and it's going to allow the Hippeus to just break on through to the skirmishers. Spear warriors are just like a medium or light unit, so they're very good as a support unit. They're very poor at taking a heavy cavalry charge. That is not what they're intended to do. They do not have expert charge defense. They do have cavalry counter tactics, which regrettably has not been used by the Boii player, which is just allowing the Hippeus lancers to continue to absolutely wreck all over these units. So the Hippeus lancers have been an absolute deciding force in this battle. Look at this Illyrian noble hoplite over here, tanked out 173 kills so far versus Hillman, Axeman, and Colchian nobles here. I mean, this is just incredible. These guys are getting a ton of kills. They have a bonus versus infantry. They are surrounded, but with their morale and health and everything else, their armor, they're going to tank out an extraordinary number of kills because none of these units have very high attack to counter them with. Hippeus Lancers now being pursued by Spear Warriors. Probably ought to get out of here. They are going to eat a Javelin Volley. Let's see if the Hippeus Lancers, yep, they're going to just get an attack order, which is going to be great because those guys aren't braced. Egypt is holding in this fight over here, though I think they would eventually lose. Galatian Royal Guard, 217 kills, 21, and climbing, so still climbing. The Noble Horse General is now being caught. There's pikes nearby. If they actually come down in formation in the right direction, could be dangerous for the Noble Horse. This guy's like, I'm trying to reach him, but I'm a pikeman. I'm not going to do anything effective. This has been an entertaining battle, to say the least. Really appreciate Helvetian Slayer for submitting this one. I'm enjoying this one thoroughly. Yes, there's been some player mistakes in it, but it's just been some really cool moments, too. Those Slave Slingers going to get wrecked by Hippeus Lancers. The Hippeus Lancers have just been outstanding in this game. Absolutely outstanding. And here they are going to come around for some more action against these Illyrian Noble Hoplites. One of these guys ought to just pull out and protect the flank. Rear charge by Egyptian pikemen won't really be a big deal. If they go into pike phalanx, though, this could actually be a really nice situation for the Egyptian pikes, because now there's no retreat for any of these units. Yeah, this is actually going to be a great use of Egyptian pikes here, but they're still going to be very, very derpy. You can see them moving around in a very odd manner, and still not even getting kills very quickly, if at all. Pikes are just absolutely worthless in this game. They really need to give pikes something. Since they can't maneuver or be effectively used offensively, it seems like they ought to at least do something to make them worthwhile, where if they get into combat, they might actually get a few kills, because they are just truly poor in this game. 22 kills, yeah, so even though they've got an enemy completely pinned, the pike, just look at the derpy nature of the pikes here. This is just, it's unfortunate that this was not addressed by the Creative Assembly. It really is. Let's see. So, yeah, Illyrian Noble Hoplites not wavering out here. To get these guys to waver is pretty impressive, because they have very solid base morale. But they are completely surrounded by a horde of enemies. The Noble Blood Cav out here mopping up some regrouped units, just getting a few kills. Colchians have plenty of troops left. More Egyptians going to pour into this fight, though these Illyrian Noble Hoplites look like they're tanking this out fairly well. The Royal Thorax Swords, not a ton of kills, but this Galatian Royal Guard, look at that, 323 kills. That unit has been in absolute beast mode. Comes more Hippeus Lancers. Probably not going to get the most clean charge on these units, but it looks like the Illyrians are fleeing at this point due to army losses. So, very fun battle. Those Hippeus Lancers, how about that? Like, gone full Rohirrim style. Good grief, look at the kills on these guys. That was awesome. These Eastern Slingers, too. Excellent utilization out of those guys. Very good. Colchian Nobles doing very nice as well. And then let's take a look at some of the... oh, sorry. Helvetian Slayer was the Egyptian. My bad. Yeah, maybe he was. Yeah, Helvetian Slayer was the Egyptian. I don't know who submitted this. I think it was Helvetian Slayer. So his teammate was Colchis there. Did a good job. Still, Helvetian Slayer picking up 1,700 kills, more than either one of the enemy players. 2,700 kills for Colchis. Talk about awesome, man. That Colchian player did a good job there. Great job. So let's see. Illyrian Hoplites, especially the General. This General tanked out an impressive number of kills. The other guys did okay. Lots of kills on these Celtics here, too. Not a bad number of kills for those, but these Illyrian Thuriospears just got crapped on. Were not able to accomplish anything. And then the Boii, because they weren't paying attention with all these sword followers and units, just got most of their units absolutely destroyed. Only a couple of them even seeing any combat. The Hippeus Lancers, man, they had their sights on the Boii and just absolutely assassinated them. It was a pretty cool battle. Hope you all enjoyed that one. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Appreciate you submitting that, and thank you for all of you who continue to submit replays. I may not get to use all of them, but I do, obviously take a look through and do what I can. You're always free to submit replays, and I will keep trying to play some battles of my own as well. HeirofCarthage signing off for now.